Welcome back to the Sports News Analysis YouTube channel, where I'm always breaking down the hot sports topics of the day. My name is Mike. Be sure to check out my other videos and be sure to subscribe to my channel here to get all of my videos delivered directly to your inbox. There was one NFL head coaching job left going into tonight, and it looks like that will be filled by Bruce Arians, former offensive coordinator of the Steelers, most recently the offensive coordinator with the Indianapolis Colts last season. Of course, Arians filled in for a sick Chuck Pagano while he went through his leukemia treatments. So Arians gets rewarded with a lot of interest from NFL teams for their head coaching jobs, and he finds a spot in Arizona. First, this hire from Arians' perspective, I think he was on record as saying that he had no trouble going back next year to be the offensive coordinator of the Colts. And to be honest, I'm surprised that he did with the fact that he said that. I'm surprised he would take the Cardinals job, only because if you look at Ken Whisenhunt's tenure there, he brought the Cardinals to a Super Bowl, obviously when they had Kurt Warner as quarterback. And since that point, since Warner retired, he was never able to fill that void that Warner left. And it ultimately probably cost him his job. I think that, along with some very embarrassing performances last year, cost Whisenhunt his job. And you look at the quarterbacks on the roster now: Kevin Kolb, John Skelton, Ryan Lindley. I don't really, none of those three names excite me. I find it hard to believe a guy who knows offense as good as Bruce Arians, I find it hard to believe any of those names excite him. So I look for the Cardinals to go outside the organization and get a quarterback via free agency. The fact that Arians took this job leads me to believe he sees some potential in some of the guys that could potentially be free agent targets, maybe someone in the draft he likes, or guys that maybe they can acquire via trade. Nonetheless, Arians, gets his shot as a head coach. Immediately, it looks like he'll have to hire a defensive coordinator. Ray Horton, the incumbent defensive coordinator for the Cardinals, has asked permission to talk to other teams. If Horton is let go by the Cardinals, it looks as though the Browns are hot for Horton, that they want him to be their next defensive coordinator. And reports are coming out tonight that the Cardinals would have interest in Todd Bowles, who is expected to be let go by the Eagles as Chip Kelly sort of comes in there and implements his own staff. So we're going to have a little bit of carousel still going on with the coordinators here still to play out. But again, Arians the head guy in Arizona. From the Arizona Cardinals perspective, I think the fact that they waited, did their due diligence, went through the interview process with everyone, I think they got a good candidate, because you get a guy who's a proven offensive coordinator, but you also get a guy that you got a good sample size of what he can do as a head coach. Not only what can he do as a head coach, we also found out this year what he does under pressure. The circumstances in which he took over for Chuck Pagano were definitely very pressure-packed. I mean, he was already trying to develop a rookie quarterback and a young offense, and then to get the head coach responsibilities, thrust in his lap a couple weeks into this regular season. I think he showed he was sort of a steady hand. He was always calm. Was a perfect leader for the young Colts team when they needed him most. And I think that's obviously, if you're the Cardinals, that's probably his best attribute. That, along with his offensive knowledge. Remember, as far as the talent goes, the players on the current roster for the Cardinals, they have some talent on defense. I think if they get the right coordinator, they can continue being consistent on defense. But for Bruce Arians, that decision he makes at the quarterback position will determine his fate long term with the franchise, just as it determined Ken Whisenhunt's. Can they get someone in there to complement Larry Fitzgerald? They need to revamp that offensive line, who by most people's accounts was the worst offensive line in football last year. So I think first step, revamp the offensive line. Second step, get that quarterback in there that Arians wants, whether it's a guy he's going to draft, a guy he's going to get in free agency, a guy he's going to trade for. I'm sure Arians, when he came in for his interview, had some ideas about either quarterbacks that are on the roster, or probably more likely other quarterbacks he could pick up in order to get that Cardinals offense jump-started, an offense at times which was lackluster to non-existent in a lot of games. So we'll see how this situation plays out in Arizona. Again, I think it's a good hire for the Cardinals. We'll see if it was a good idea for Arians to take this job based on the quarterbacks he can attract to come play there. And let's face it, Michael Floyd and obviously most notably Larry Fitzgerald aren't too bad targets to throw to. So hopefully they can get a good guy in there and get this thing up and running in Arizona in now what is a very competitive NFC Western division. So be sure to check out my other videos. Let me know what you guys think of the Arians hire. Do you agree with it? Do you see problems with it? Are you surprised Arians took the job? Let me know in the YouTube comments. Hit me up. Also on Twitter as well, at SNewsAnalysis. And guys, subscribe to my page here, my channel on YouTube, and you get all of my videos delivered directly to your inbox. Thanks for listening, guys, and have a good night.